All right, we are recording. So, folks, I have a new release of Weather Factory Meltdown out here. And this time there is a new global in town, custom projectiles. So when you click on the custom projectiles button here on the globals tab, then you get to see what custom projectiles there are. And as you can see, the custom projectile list here, it's just not all that big. The projectiles are actually shrunk down massively. This is a sort of a crystal that a few enemies now have in the game. I have one called Lock On Emerald that uses this, and another one called Maelstrom Malachite. And that's there's multiple layers here. First of all, if you want to add a custom projectile to your game, the first thing that you do is you pop open the custom projectiles wizard here, you add a new one. Now I'm just going to open up an existing one here. And of course it takes its sweet time to load everything up. This thing has gotten so complex and intricate. This probably is familiar to you. It's another multi-directional animation, and you can decide what all animations there's going to be for your projectile. This one happens to have 16 directions, and each one of these has exactly one projectile in it. Or I should say one frame in it. Good grief. Maybe I should have actually written a script before doing this tutorial video. But in any case, you can see that this malachite crystal, it can travel in any one of 16 different directions. And you set them up, again, using the compass rose here to select which animation you're showing. And of course, using the standard custom animation panel here where you can browse for the images. You can change the frame count. Like if I wanted it to be 14 frames, then I could do this. And you can set the background color. It's my understanding that some of the more modern versions of MS Paint allow you to have transparent backgrounds. This level editor was created at a time when that wasn't possible, where if you wanted something to be transparent, you needed something else like the new image manipulation program, the GIMP, to actually get it to be transparent. Nowadays, Paint can do this. If you're using an older version of Paint, what you can do is you can make your background white or red or black or cyan or lime green or whatever color you want, and select that color as the background color here, and then voila, that will be transparent. I mean, here, obviously white is the usual background. By making lime green transparent like this, lo and behold, you can see the checkerboard background that's supposed to um, denote the transparent parts. But anyways, enough about this animation. There's also the controls here. You basically set the hitboxes here. This is very, very similar to the controls where you set frame by frame details for custom attack for a player character or what have you. You have to select a frame before any hitboxes or any graphics here even become visible. Once you've selected it, then you can select a hitbox and you can change the details. Like I'll just change the minimum X to -60 instead of -6. As you can see, that stretched the hitbox out. You can select which element it is. Different frames can do different amounts of damage. Different frames can have different sized hitboxes, which I'm going to show you later with the tornado. Different frames could have different elements if you wanted. The list goes on. But let me cancel out of this and show you the tornado one. There's this tiny little smudge of gray right here. That's actually a shrunk down. It's basically one of the frames of the tornado projectile that has been shrunk down. So let me show you what the tornado looks like. Again, it's going to take its sweet time loading, but I guess it's just the nature of the beast these days. As you can see, this time there is exactly one direction, And when you click on this, you can see that there's 42 frames. And no, that was not intended to be anything like a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or anything like that. When you preview the animation, and it's going to be hard to see because the background is gray and the projectile is gray. It's a tornado that sort of rises up and then twists back down and then rises up again and twists back down. And if we look at the controls here, then as you go through this, the hitboxes actually grow as the projectile grows. And they shrink as the projectile shrinks. Not bad. But of course, all of this, it gets you the hitboxes, it gets you the directions for the different animations, it gets you the animations themselves. But one thing that this does not get you is how these projectiles move and what speed these projectiles go at. All of that kind of thing, that actually happens when you actually try to assign a custom projectile to a custom attack. Basically, let me just bring Rainbow Dash up here because she is using the tornado as one of her custom attacks. In fact, it's her only one. Before I created custom attacks, basically this was a ground wave that would travel around the ground, tumble over ledges, and do air elemental damage. Now I have changed it so that instead of being a ground wave, the sub-attack is a custom sub-attack. When you click Add Sub-Attack, and it tells you choose sub-attack type, I mean, you got the ones that I've done so far. Fireball, Thunder Ray, Geocrest, Bubble Blast, Photon Orb, Pixel Laser, Ground Wave, Crawl Spark. But now there's a new one, Custom Projectile. You click OK, and, I'm not actually going to add this to the tornado attack, but you can see Rainbow Dash is doing the rear stomp animation here because that's what the whole attack has set up for this particular. This is the animation that this attack uses. So we've got the spawn point here, custom projectile. Let's just pretend it's Malachite missile. And as you can see, there's two tabs down here. There's general and there's movement. And you can change what kind of movement we use. There's spiral, which causes the projectile to sort of rotate around. And there's homing. And each one of these has different fields attached to it. Ticks before respawning. When you have a homing projectile, eventually it is going to despawn. Ticks between reevaluations. If you put in, say, 30 or so, I don't remember how many frames per second this is, but 30 ticks of the update render cycle will go by, and then the projectile will say, okay, where's my target? I have to reorient myself and choose a new direction to travel so that I can get to it. And max speed is how many pixels the projectile can travel during a single tick at a time. Let me just put 5 here. Ticks between reevaluations, 10. Ticks before respawning, 100. At this point, because there isn't actually a target for it to go through, it'll just send these projectiles traveling to the right. That's what it does by default. But let's say that instead of homing, we want it to be spiral so that you can see the projectiles go around and around. And it's continuing to do this until I actually modify it. So let me just say 3 degrees per tick, distance from origin per tick, 2 initial degrees, 0 initial distance, 0. What's going to happen is this thing is going to slowly show you how these projectiles are going to travel. And I think, okay, they're going so far off the screen that, yeah, that you can't even see them. And let's see. Let's try initial degrees 180. They should start from the opposite direction now. Yep, they're starting from the opposite direction. They're going down instead of up. Whoa. This time you can actually see them coming back, though. Oh well. Yeah, so this is the way the spiral movement system works. Um, yeah, the more distance from origin means the faster it branches out. Let me take this up to 9. Yeah, it's going to branch out a great deal faster when you have distance from origin per tick. All right, but let's change this up again and do vector. This just sends them out in a straight line. If you go with direction, attack, or faces, I mean, I have done other things with vectors before. Fireballs, Geocryst, Bubble Blast, these things, they use vectors to determine where they go. If you want a homing projectile, unfortunately, the only way to do that so far is with custom projectiles. But in any case, um, things are very, very similar for custom NPCs. Um, though, before I sign off on this, I should say that if you want to change the attributes of this attack, that is to say the damage that it does, or what, the amount of damage or the type of damage, the element of damage that it does, you can do that. You check this box to say override intensity, and then when Rainbow Dash shoots out this missile, then, or I should say shoots out this crystal, then the crystal will do 10 damage instead of only doing 1 damage. And if you click override element and set it to say earth, then when this hits the enemy, it's going to do earth damage instead of non-elemental damage, or whatever damage was attached to the hitboxes. And this overrides all the hitboxes data, all the hitboxes intensity, or intensities, I should say, all the hitboxes damage elements. All of that gets overridden when you check these boxes. They're unchecked by default. But you can also modify the frame by frame details. For example, I set things up so that it is the moment Rainbow Dash slams her hooves onto the ground that we actually have the custom projectile here. This is the spawn point for the custom projectile. Again, this screen is flickering. I don't like that. I wish I knew how to solve that particular problem, but... And I have it all the way over on the left. I certainly hope that I haven't been yakking about stuff that has been off the side of the screen. What? Oh, forget it. Ay, ay, ay. Here I am getting notifications while I'm trying to film a tutorial video. But anyways, so here we have custom projectile tornado 15 default element. Basically, you can set which frame the custom projectiles get sent out on. And again, if you want, you can add melee hitboxes as well. But that's another tutorial that I've already got on the video on my channel. So let me cancel out of this and show you what a custom NPC looks like. I'm trying to remember which one I added Maelstrom Malachite to. I think I added Maelstrom Malachite to the Cloud Room. So let's go to enemies, bosses, and NPCs. Okay, there's a quartzy cloud there. I really need to put more emphasis on that boss here. Alright, this is Maelstrom Malachite. Obviously it's got 4 different peridots in there, and it's got small emeralds at each of the corners. You know, I like to think that this doesn't look at all like a swastika. It wasn't meant to look anything like one, I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, I don't think it looks like one. And let's see, it would be in the shoot behavior. Collapse, that's basically just the animation of these gems going towards the core before they explode into small emeralds and peridots. But yeah, I pronounce it peridot. I always have. Technically, both peridot and peridot are legitimate pronunciations. So here's the sub attack that I have for Maelstrom Malachite. And it's essentially the same sort of thing. you still get to choose which type of movement you have. You get to choose which projectile it'll be. And let me just see what happens if I pick tornado for this. I'm guessing that it's just going to send the tornado spinning around. Yep. It looks pretty silly, but also it looks kind of funny. In any case, this is what adds custom projectiles to the game. And of course, custom attacks, they still have all the same features that they did before. You can add debuffs to them, you can add attack requirements to them. I'm trying to remember what all these requirements were. Must have item, event flag. Huh. I don't even remember adding these attack requirements, which is too bad because adding requirements for being able to use a specific kind of attack, that would be perfect for Metrovania games. But I digress. This is essentially it for custom projectiles. Hopefully this is going to be a useful thing. I'm very excited for this. Obviously, it took me about a year to implement this. That's partly because I'm splitting my time between this game, the Weather Factory Meltdown game, and a different game, a card game that I'm trying to build using Unity. In any case, if I get too many complaints about this thing, which is supposed to look like a whirlpool, if I get too many complaints about it looking like a swastika or something, then I will look into changing it. Like I say, I really hope that it looks more like a whirlpool than it does like a swastika. But you know, it, it depends on the feedback that I get. Honestly, this is not intended to be uh, supporting fascism in any way whatsoever. I'm not even well. Nah, let's not make this any more political than it needs to be. This is supposed to be a maelstrom. If it's something else, I apologize and I am prepared to change it. It's just one animation and one frame, and I can change it if it has to be changed. That's about it.